Yavat Ganga cha Goda cha Yavat Chandra Surya Tatha Tavat Samskrita Gauravam Lokeshu Pracharishyati Lokeshu Pracharishyati.
In the heart of the Himalayas, a language still breathes, not in silence, but in chants, rituals, and prayer. Sanskrit, the rhythm of Nepal's spirit, echoing through bells, manuscripts, and time itself.
Kathmandu Valley, there's no scarcity, not just of art historical material, but also textual materials. There are a lot of manuscripts, a lot of inscriptions. Sanskrit has been used as a liturgical language in the Kathmandu Valley for at least 800 years, and there are so many manuscripts in the Kathmandu Valley.
We see sometimes when we walk in the street in Patan, we see some procession. So many aspects are very lively here, which of course is a quite unique situation.
Here in Nepal, the ancient and modern coexist, and scholars from across the globe have gathered for the 19th World Sanskrit Conference. They are not here to study ancient words, but to engage with a living, breathing tradition. For each of them, the journey began with a spark.
It was a full moon night, and I took a vow that I would spend the next 10 years studying Sanskrit so I could read Mahabharatam in the original.
My passion was rock and roll music. Still, there was something about this idea of sound and chanting and performance that I really connected with.
It all began with a simple idea: to bring together people from different walks of life, united by a shared love for Sanskrit 50 years ago.
You make me feel nostalgic. The first conference was held in 1972. So the excitement of that conference, you had to really be there and feel it to sort of understand. And I still remember not only young scholars like me, who had a lot to look forward to, but even very senior scholars like Professor Dandekar and Professor V.K.R.V. Rao, and all those stalwarts whom we used to look up to. The very fact that Professor Dandekar would address you made you feel so good. So it was something really out of this world.
What began in 1972 as a gathering of Sanskrit scholars in New Delhi went on to journey across continents, each bringing with them a piece of the Sanskrit word, from ancient manuscripts to digital tools, from sacred chants to scholarly debates. They came together to keep the conversation alive, not just in memory, but in practice and passion. But to understand their passion, one must first ask, what is Sanskrit?
So Sanskrit is probably 2,500 years old in its current format. So 500 BCE, a wonderful scholar, a grammarian by the name of Panini, sat down and compiled rules that described the language that his educated peers were speaking. And those 4,000 rules define classical Sanskrit. And classical Sanskrit has not changed in that time. So from 500 BCE through to 2025, this language, the grammar has remained unchanged. Samskrita means perfected, made together. And so classical Sanskrit is a rather simplified and perfected version of the much earlier Vedic language.
When you go to opera and listen in very high-level art of singing, it's a hard work to listen it. Your mind must be cultivated already to understand it but enjoying of it. And that's why we are, working very hard just to go to this, heaven of this universe, philosophical universe.
Every yogic tradition has the purpose of transcending the human condition. This is the main point. You must take seriously the perspective of siddhis, of transcending the human condition, of kaivalya or moksha and immortality.
What I realized over the years is the part of Sanskrit tradition, like when a pandit is doing a ritual or a sutta is, chanting one of the epics or the Puranas or something, there's some kind of performance going on, right? There was something about this idea of sound and chanting and performance that I really connected with. Rock and roll is this tradition in some ways, almost like this state of ecstasy or transcendence that like through the music, you go into a kind of different state of mind. The Vedic tradition is really interesting because you have these rishis and this ancient tradition, and it's about achieving a different state of mind. And so I thought, wow, Vedic tradition is everything I like about human culture.
Because it's a language of yoga, it's a language of meditation, it's a language of silence, it's a language of power, it's a language of strength, it's a language of refinement. It's a language of all that you can name, or you can put the level of perfection. It's a language of perfection. So the most important mantra that has always inspired me is Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityur Ma Amrutam Gamaya. Here we find a framework for our life, our education, which has to be remembered always. And in life, while moving forward, we always have to carry in our awareness this mantra that our whole purpose of life is to move from what is falsehood, what is dark, what is untrue, what keeps us binding to the mortal world, and then how we can liberate ourselves from this.
Sanskrit is ancient, not frozen in time, but living heritage. Within its verses lies a treasury of knowledge waiting to be rediscovered.
One of my then vice chancellors once out of the blue asked me this question, Diptiji, tell me, what good is it studying Sanskrit? After all, it's a dead language. So I turned around and said, excuse me, sir, but Sanskrit is not a dead language.
संस्कृत भनेको ज्ञान विज्ञानको भण्डार हो ज्ञान पनि छ विज्ञान पनि छ र हाम्रो मौलिक पहिचान बोकेको भाषा हो र सम्पूर्ण भाषाको जननी पनि हो यसलाई देव भाषा पनि भनिन्छ त्यसैले मैले भनिराखेको छु संस्कृत भित्रको खजाना छ तर त्यसलाई हामीले अनुसन्धान गरेर अगाडि बढाउन नसकेको अवस्था हो
You see, Sanskrit contains the knowledge system of India for more than the past 6,000 years. You talk of metallurgy. You come to Delhi, you will find an iron pillar standing in the open for the past 2,000 years, not a speck on that iron pillar. So obviously, metallurgy was very well developed. And people have not been able to make out why it has not developed anything on the body till now.
Sanskrit is the key to have this access to those texts, those questions, and here and there even those solutions. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel every day. There are such a wonderful insights already set up, already prepared, just to be discovered or rediscovered. And so the key is, getting this access to those texts and starting this conversation.
Yet, despite being an ancient language, Sanskrit's depth, beauty, and timeless wisdom are drawing renewed interest from around the world. In a fast-moving world, more and more people are pausing to rediscover its enduring relevance.
In this conference, there are scholars from China, from Russia, from Germany, from Italy, and from many countries of the world. So they are all doing research on Sanskrit. So if Sanskrit had been a useful thing, why would those people do research on Sanskrit? But for the people of India or South Asia, Sanskrit is a thing to be deserted. So there is a paradox, no?
So what is needed, according to me, is scholars from the modern disciplines and scholars from Sanskrit to come together, work together. The language experts would be able to interpret the texts, whereas the subject experts would be able to find out what is best for them.
What I found in Panini's grammar is mathematical in nature. He devised a technical language similar to the context-sensitive grammar that is used to describe the programming languages. It is said that to learn Sanskrit, you have to learn the grammar with a guru for 12 years. What we would like to do is reduce that time 12 years to say 12 months or maybe 12 weeks. In order to do this, we are using the computational technology. OCR is a technology, optical character recognition, where you convert an image into text. We have several manuscripts or we have several books in PDF or image format which are not searchable. We want to make them searchable. So such technology is being developed.
If we were scanning 1,000 pages a day, some of my staff members are doing 4,000 pages a day. In 1 year, what I did with older scanners and what I do now is even higher. So the power of digitization to influence 7 billion people at the same time, that power is what I want to make sure that knowledge is democratized, it's in everybody's hand, nobody has to pay a red cent for that. Nobody's even scratched the surface when it comes to digital availability. I hope that more is done in this direction. And I've just scratched the surface because there's like so much.
But Nepal has done what few places could: protect the past piece by piece.
Changunarayan is basically one of the most important Narayan temple of Kathmandu Valley, and it is also one of the oldest. We have an inscription in Sanskrit of Manadeva, a Lichavi king, from 464 AD. That's written in Sanskrit and in the Lichavi script. That is regarded one of the oldest dated inscription of Kathmandu Valley, and it is from where the Nepalese history begins. We have old inscriptions that are all in Sanskrit language, and we still use the Sanskrit language in those inscriptions while reciting the Jyotisha or the positions of the different planets. So those are all described in Sanskrit language. Even in the medieval times, when other languages like the Nepal Bhasha was more prominent, a description of this time was described in Sanskrit language. So be it in the daily rituals or other special festivals, we perform all the worships, be it in Changunarayan, be it in Kileshwara, or in Chinnamasta temple, or other small temples around this place. We perform those rituals with primarily Sanskrit language as the base. So, in my opinion, I think Sanskrit language is still very useful, still very practical, because it has a lot of qualities that are still prevalent now. We have all those rituals that have been transferred to us for thousands of years, at least 1,000 years, or for many centuries that we have known. So all those knowledge are preserved in those Sanskrit texts or Sanskrit language. So the idea of reviving or continuation of this Sanskrit language is still very important.
What is unique about Nepal are the climatic conditions of Nepal, which have enabled the preservation of manuscripts for a long time. We have manuscripts from the 9th century and maybe even from the 8th century. In subcontinental South Asia, in India, manuscripts usually don't survive for longer than 300 to 400 years, so they need to be copied and recopied. And in Nepal, we have the unique situation that we have manuscripts that are 1,000 years old or even older. So we have a direct access to a very early stage of transmission.
One of the most magnificent pieces of Sanskrit literature was written by a scholar called Ashvaghosha in the 1st century of the current era. And his work was called Buddha Charita, so the deeds of the Buddha. years ago, 100 years ago, a scholar discovered this manuscript, the only one version of this. And if that text hadn't been preserved in Nepal, it would have been lost forever. So in that sense, it's one of Nepal's great contributions to world scholarship, the fact that that extraordinary, unique manuscript was preserved in a library right here in Kathmandu.
The pictures we have of ourselves are based on narratives and on history. So if we want to be truthful, then we want to have an accurate picture of the past as possible. So it is also in our responsibility as scholars to publish at venues that make their work open access, so that also people from all around the globe can have access and also publish there. And I would like to urge this, it's not only in the hands of the publishers, we can also choose other publishers and journals and make our knowledge accessible. So we have to know what's in there if we want to define our identities on the basis of it, which is what many people do.
Sanskrit has shaped how we think, how we pray, how we understand the world, whether through knowledge or transcendence. But in a rapidly changing world, one question remains. What about its future?
Well, my friends at the university laugh at me because I say Sanskrit is the language of the future. It's been around for 3,000 years. It's probably going to be around for another 3,000 years.
I recommend to learn Sanskrit to everybody, not only to, just to read, etc. Because Sanskrit language develop your mind, develop your reception of the world, your creativity. And when you read such a compound text like Bana Kadambar in Sanskrit or Ramanuja, your consciousness is wide.
The whole world is passing through a period of turbulence. And being a Sanskritist and a student of Sanskrit literature, I know the peace of mind, the health of body, and creativity within leads to a happy world. And all these things are badly missing in the modern world. I wish people would be willing to delve into the literature. As they say in Sanskrit, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramayah, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. May all be happy. May all be creative. May all be productive. May all be healthy, and may we live in a happy world.